Traveling with kids looks magical on social media, but here's what actually happened on my last trip with my kids. One small mistake almost ruined our entire vacation, and I didn't see it coming. I reminded myself why kids melt down more on vacations than at home, and I'll share one mindset shift that saved my sanity even when things went wrong. I'm a pediatrician parent coach and a mom of three, and this video is based on our recent family travels. Different ages, different needs, but same chaos. We had delayed flights, overstimulated kids, missed naps, and that moment when you ask yourself, why did we do this again? So let's talk about one small mistake that almost ruined our entire vacation. That mistake wasn't my kids' behavior, it was my expectations. I expected my kids to sleep less, eat unfamiliar food, walk more, wait longer, and somehow still behave better than they do at home. I told myself that this was a vacation, that they should enjoy it. I kept thinking, we planned this, we paid for this, and why can't they just be grateful and enjoy it? But here's what I forgot. Kids don't experience travel like adults. For adults, travel is exciting. For kids, it feels like constant change. That's not fun for a child's nervous system, that's overload. And once I saw that, everything shifted. I stopped trying to make our trip look good. I stopped pushing through moments that clearly weren't working. I started slowing down. The trip didn't become perfect, but it became peaceful enough, and that changed everything for us. I had to remind myself of the reasons why kids actually melt down more on vacation, and it's not because you're doing it wrong. As adults, we associate travel with excitement, with freedom, and a break from routine. But children experience travel very differently. For their brain, routine is not boring, routine is regulating. Predictability tells their nervous system that they are safe and they know what comes next. When we travel, predictability disappears. Sleep happens at different times, food tastes different, bathrooms are unfamiliar, sounds are louder, and more transitions. Each of these changes may seem small to us as adults, but for a child's nervous system, they stack. And when stress stacks, regulation drops. And this is why children melt down more on vacation and not less. Their brains are working overtime just to adapt. When their nervous system is in stress mode all the time, their thinking brain goes offline. That means there is less flexibility, less patience, and less impulse control. So the behaviors that parents report on trips make sense. There are more tantrums, more whining, more refusal, more tears over small things. And this isn't manipulation. This isn't poor discipline. This is brain science. Another factor kids often miss is loss of control. At home, your kids know the rules. They know where things are. They know who is in charge. On vacation, adults make all the decisions: when to wake up, when to eat, where to go, how long to walk, and children have a very little say. And when kids feel powerless, their behavior becomes the way of communication. What looks like defiance is often a request for help. There's also sensory overload: new smells, new textures, crowded spaces, and constant stimulation. Many children cope by melting down or shutting down. And then parents respond with confusion. As parents, we think that, oh, they're supposed to be happy. We planned this for them. Why is it so hard? The shift comes when we stop asking, why are they acting like this? And start asking, what is their nervous system dealing with right now? When we as parents respond to stress instead of behavior, everything changes. Not because our child suddenly learned how to behave better, but because they felt understood. Travel doesn't need perfect behavior to be successful. It needs enough regulation to keep everyone afloat. And when we see meltdowns as a stress response, not a parenting failure, we travel with more compassion, realism, and calm. Now, let me go over one mindset shift that changed how I experienced the entire trip, even on hard days. Before we started the trip, my focus was on the outcomes. How do I make this trip go well? How do I avoid meltdowns? How do I make sure everyone enjoys this? That question kept me in the problem solving mode all day. But travel with kids is constant change, and constant change demands regulation, not performance. So I shifted the question. Instead of asking myself, how do I make this trip go well? I started asking, how do I support my kids through this change? That single shift changed my behavior as a parent. Instead of packing the day with activities, I planned recovery time. Instead of pushing through schedules, I watched their energy levels. And instead of correcting behavior immediately, I regulated first. That meant fewer activities, more pauses, and more yeses to the rest. And from a brain perspective, this matters. When children feel safe and supported, their nervous systems settle. And once the nervous system settles, their thinking brain comes back online. This also changed how I responded when things went wrong because I stopped trying to fix every moment because fixing communicates urgency and urgency increases the stress. Instead, I focused on repair. Repair looks like naming what happened, validating the feelings, and reconnecting after a hard moment. Research shows that our kids don't need perfect parents. They need parents who can repair, and travel gave me opportunities to practice that. A rough morning didn't ruin our day. A meltdown didn't ruin the trip. They became moments of learning and not evidence of failure. This mindset shift also helped me regulate myself. When I wasn't chasing a perfect experience, I could stay calmer. With this shift, the trip didn't suddenly become easy, but it became manageable. And more importantly, it became connected. That's what our kids would remember. So, three simple things you can do during your family vacations that would make it so much easier for you are number one, lower your expectations by at least 30%. So, plan less and buffer more. Number two, anchor the day with one familiar routine. Maybe the same bedtime song, maybe the same snacks. Number three, regulate before you educate. So make sure you connect with your kids first before you give them any instructions. Remember, family travel isn't about creating picture perfect days. It's about building connection, flexibility, and resilience for yourself and for your kids.